Hi, this is Dan Hawes from Graduate Recruitment Bureau. Welcome to Student Diaries. This month we'll be checking in with our 3 Sussex University students and finding out what they've been up to. Hope you enjoy it. Well, we're back on campus at Sussex University and looking forward to hearing from our 3 students. The first one being Anastasia. How's things?
They're pretty good, actually. Yeah. I eased into this term a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, like I said, last term towards the end wasn't great at all. And I just kind of found that I felt a little bit guilty that I hadn't really been engaging with too many things on campus outside of studying. So, in trying to rectify that, I've oversubscribed myself.
Right, tell me more.
Right, so at the moment, I just applied for Corbis Sussex on campus, So that's a global health and development initiative, comprised mostly of students, faculty, and just a bunch of people kind of in that movement, and it's multidisciplinary. So I applied for that, got the job.
Okay.
So I'd effectively just be a logistics coordinator. So setting up the event, sourcing people to come and give speeches and talks on campus. So that will be for the next few months whilst I'm kind of writing essays and things like that. So it's really exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Logistics. So was this a conscious effort to gain a new skill, or was it purely out of an interest in their mission?
Definitely, I guess it's a combination of both, but mostly the latter, I suppose.
Okay.
I think I said anyway, I do want to kind of get into development. I'm not too certain at the moment what it is that I would want to focus on by the time I graduate. So I think this is a pretty nice way to kind of get in there and engage. And like I think I said last year, I was working for a charity. So logistics coordination, it's not something new, but I guess I'd be able to develop new skills because it's a new area as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Did you actually go through an interview process?
No, so I had to write I guess sort of like a formal cover letter, pretty long, just kind of detailing why I'm interested in it, what I could bring to the table. I wasn't sure that I was going to get it, but I did. They seemed to like my application. So first meetings in a couple of days. Yeah.
A couple of days, right. And do you know the commitment, the amount of hours you'd have to do?
I think it's about maybe around 8 hours or so per week. Just because I'm with logistics coordination, I'm going to be planning the event. So I guess I would have to give a lot of my time. But I think I can work around that, seeing as with the strikes, and then I'd have less contact hours this term anyway. So it's manageable.
Yeah, the strikes on my way in today, there were lecturers balloting and giving out stickers and leaflets, and also a lot of other students, campaigning on their behalf. So we've already been here before, but previously it was for 2 weeks, and this one is for 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks. Yeah. So like I said, this term I'm only on campus around 6 hours. So with the strike going on for a month, I don't have anything again. So it's a weird conundrum because you want to support, and I believe in everything that they're doing at the moment. But at the same time, it's to the detriment of my work because I have essays and exams. I was meant to go strike out with them last week, but I was ill. But I've just tried to do as much as I can to show that I support what they're doing, but also trying to manage everything else along on the side as well.
It's interesting for students because on the one hand, a lot of students here, and to my understanding, Sussex is an outlier at the moment in this respect. That on the one hand, you're supporting your lecturers, but on the other hand, you're missing out because you're paying to sit in their lectures, and I don't know what compensation you're likely to get for that, or what students are taking action for themselves.
Yeah, so last term we had to fill out an application to kind of receive a certain amount. So it was only minimum £40 and the maximum being £100 for everybody. So it didn't really matter what year. It didn't vary. So it's just the money that we received. I got the full amount. still wasn't enough for the amount of time that I had lost. So I don't really know where we go from there, like in terms of Sussex. I know I'm aware of other universities where students are thinking of like conducting class action strikes as well, but just calculating that they need about 600, 800, and that's not even accounting for international students who pay such a hefty amount already. So yeah.
It's very inconvenient to get caught up in this, obviously, what with exams presumably on the horizon. You know, I guess for some students, they have more contact hours than others. I mean, is there a contract where if this happens, then you get X amount of compensation, or have you?
There isn't, and I've been trying to work it out. Just with, I don't really know what we would have to do. I just think, like I said, it's a weird conflict because at the end of the day, they've made universities like an institution. They've marketized it. I'm in some weird legally binding contract with you, so I feel like I should be treated like a consumer and effectively receive what I'm owed. And if you can't fulfill that, then issue me some sort of compensation.
Well, that's interesting. You know, you are a consumer, so you have rights. So, you know, I mean, this is really what you don't want to happen when you're striving to, you know, achieve in your studies and ultimately get a good degree. So, I mean, in the meantime, I guess you just have to read around the subjects, go through the curriculum and do it yourself. But like you say, you've got a lot of free time, so you've actually turned that to your advantage and you're doing the volunteering. Is there anything else you think you could do in the meantime?
So I said with Corbis, I'm doing the food waste cafe as well on campus, which is just, we kind of take food waste that supermarkets would tend to throw out. We cook it off-site, and then the following day we kind of sell it on campus. It's pay as you feel, it's vegan, it's environmentally friendly. So that's been really fun to do. So I'm thinking of potentially joining the committee at some point later this year or starting next year as well when I go into second year. So
you mentioned there the committee. So you like to step up and actually take responsibility rather than say just cooking stuff, which is important. But you like to get involved in maybe steering the direction of something, which is good. You know,
I think I have ideas. I don't know for new things, so it's just put myself out there a bit more. I think.
That's cool. Okay, all right. Well, it's been good to catch up. And hopefully the strikes will sort themselves out. But in the meantime, you're not one to sit back like you did last time, I seem to remember. But going to make the most of it, and we'll catch up again in 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. So we're here with Sarah, looking forward to finding out a little bit more about what she's been up to since we last spoke. How's things?
Good, busy but good. With I think most of the internship deadlines coming towards an end and things like that, there's been a lot of planning and trying to fit interviews in places and planning travelling to assessment days and doing things on computers and online aptitude tests and personality quizzes to try and see what businesses want. And it's different, very flexible. Lots of different businesses want different things, or even the same business but different roles, and trying to match yourself to what they're demanding.
Yeah, I mean, from students' point of view, you may think the whole recruitment process is overcomplicated and there's a lot of repetition of filling in forms, and but trust me, things have improved. What with moving online and how technology helps. Can you shine the light on one example of where you've gone for a particular role and the process involved?
So one thing that I'm looking at, very different to my neuroscience history, is looking at doing kind of like problem-solving consultancy possibilities in the energy industry.
Okay.
And so I've applied for a summer internship, 8 weeks long, paid as part of their kind of solutions team, which is really fun and exciting. And that started off with just basic information, so like secondary school and university history, with grades. And then past that, there was a aptitude test about maths, one for comprehension, so being able to read things and fix problems easily, and a personality quiz that came up with like, you seem to have these strengths in your character and these weaknesses. We'll get back in touch with you maybe.
Well, that's always useful because you can find out a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah.
things you may not already know, but by completing a quiz, it appears fun. But they're very popular at the moment. If we just take a step back, how did you first hear about that role?
Just trawling through the internet.
Yeah.
Really, because I took a year out before university, I don't want to do a full year in industry, but I still want to get that practical experience and learn actually if my idea of what I want to do is accurate. If I do enjoy collaborating with people and coming up with new ideas and solving problems in a business, or if I'm actually more intrigued in doing research, or I'd rather go into kind of back of house admin and I don't want to spend a whole year in the wrong industry. So I can just do one summer and figure out from there what's right or wrong. But It was just going through, I think I used you to rate my placement for this particular one, but some of them are from the University Careers Hub or word of mouth, or if I have a couple of friends that didn't go to university and so they said, I worked for this business, maybe look at them, and I've applied or emailed or gone through their website and looked in careers options.
Okay. So you've taken a few approaches to find companies that look the right kind and the job fits what you're looking for. So you applied for this particular one for an 8-week paid internship, which is great because some of them aren't paid, which is a bit naughty because legally they should pay expenses, but that's good. And with a big, well-known firm, which can look good on your CV as well. So imagine it's super competitive.
Yeah.
But you've got through that first stage, have you?
Yeah, and now through the second stage. So following that, I was sent a little link maybe a week or so later, maybe 2 weeks later, that said, we've invited you to video interview. Please take some time, find a quiet space with a good internet connection, and answer some questions that will cover. I think they briefly were like, why you want to do this placement and why with us. So that was the kind of briefing you had. And then when you embarked on the video interview, you got like a little 2-minute long video of someone talking about their experiences with the business, and then a question that you had to answer that was mostly related to, so you could follow the structure that person had done, but put your own ideas into it.
Okay. So you said 2 weeks from getting through the first stage to being selected for a video interview.
Yeah.
Were you told that it would take 2 weeks?
I was told it would take 2 weeks? I was told they would get back in touch, but I wasn't given a deadline. And then that was the same after the video interview as well. I wasn't given how many weeks or whenever to expect a response. And then
were you expecting that, or were you expecting you will be contacted within a certain time frame?
I think because I've applied to other things in like banking industries, investment industries, or done things that are very personal, so one-to-one communication with like a researcher or in a lab where you get, I'll be in touch with you in tomorrow, or after I've had dinner this evening. If it's very personal or with huge big banking businesses, it's like, okay, cool, you've done this part, we'll contact you in at least 7 days. At this date in the program, we'll be in this position to offer you a place. And there's more of a timeline, I think, because it's big, but it isn't as organized or have the image of profession that I think banking does. It's slightly less.
Okay.
I don't know. Or I'm just
it's
rationalizing it.
Yeah, I mean, each company's different in how they approach it, and some have to deal with thousands of applicants, others don't. And they may have processes that are far more structured, that adhere to certain time frames, or others a bit more free and easy, which this one sounds...
It sounds more flexible, which I think is quite nice. It makes it feel like they're considering you and reading through and taking time. But at the same time, I thought I hadn't got anywhere with it, so I've looked in loads of other places for other internships, and then they got back to me and was like, oh, can you come to our assessment day? And it's sort of, I can do, but now you're no longer my top priority because I have these other opportunities that have opened up. So
I mean, you've still got to keep ploughing on and applying, and then if they get back, it doesn't quite work out. So there's a lot of juggling to manage all these job applications. So you got through the video interview. I mean, how long did it last for, first of all?
About half an hour, I think. It was, it wasn't like you were chatting to, I thought it would be you were chatting to someone just through like a video link, which I would have loved. But then I logged in with all the details and it was just like a written question and you just spoke at your webcam, which was really weird and uncomfortable. Like I I'm not a very camera type person. So after I came away, I was like, well, I definitely haven't got that, because there was no person there. There was no one to bounce ideas off. You couldn't see if you were going in the right direction. It was just kind of, I'm going to interpret this question one way and run with it, which feels very not my style. But evidently I didn't do too badly.
Yeah, quite. I mean, that's unusual not to face a person, but some video interviews do just throw up a question, you answer it. They'll probably transcribe what you've said and then maybe search for certain keywords or actually look at the whole thing in its entirety. But it is a time saver and very useful way of screening people. So a lot of big companies especially are using it. So, it made you feel a bit uncomfortable to begin with, but I'm sure you got in the flow, and it obviously went very well. So now there's an assessment centre. How soon is that?
Tomorrow.
Right.
So I got a phone today at about 10:30. I was like, hey, I'm just phoning to let you know we would love you to come to the assessment day. It's tomorrow at 8:30. Right. I was like, well, could you give me the postcode at least so I can see if I can get there by 8:30? And they were like, yep, of course, and they've offered to pay for all my travel. So my travel gets reimbursed, food's provided, which is quite nice. It was a bit of a shame that it's such late notice. It would have been helpful because there's a portfolio that I have to look through and do research into the business. They asked if I could look into specific areas of the business, which I'm happy to do, but I am at university until I think 3 p.m. today, and I'm working 6 p.m. until 1 a.m. And then I have to wake up at 5 to get to this recruitment place. So it's a lot of pressure, but I think it's worth it.
It's worth it, yeah.
I don't need sleep too much, so I should be able to perform well enough.
Wow, superhuman. Well, yeah, I mean, your priority has to be on getting this internship, and things have to fall behind that objective, and I'm sure you do great and all the best with that. Have you heard from any other firms?
So within Sussex, I've been looking at doing JRA, so research things that I know lots of students apply for, and so I'm currently searching for something here, and then beyond that, I'm looking at doing stuff with the Welcome Trust, and the Crick Institute. Yeah. So the Welcome Trust has got me most hooked, because you can apply for 3 internships within the organisation. They're just amazing opportunities. I'm looking at one for neuroscience, one for investment, and then another one for open access. Okay. So neuroscience, because it links with my course really well and would be really interesting, but it looks like the most dull. I just read papers, chat to some experts, go to some meetings and write a lab report about infectious diseases in the brain, which is really cool, but not where my passion lies. And then the other 2 are kind of bridging my love of learning stuff with changing the world a little bit. So open access is looking at loads of different research projects that Wellcome have funded, and then kind of translating that into human language, or just less gibberish, so other science teams can look into it and understand how it intersects with their research, but also so it's accessible to the public, so how public health can be impacted by this really high level research. So it's bridging together just such practical on the ground work with blue skies thinking, which is amazing. And then investments is looking at the investment universe of Wellcome, how we can change and adapt it so that it's maximally benefiting the trust, but then also helping to nudge the world in terms of like economic power towards pro-social, pro-health goals, which is really cool. You think about how the world's developing, what the future might be, how we can fill that vacuum before it gets there.
I mean, all those opportunities sounds like they'll have an impact in some way, and to play a part of that gives you, the ultimate job satisfaction. So, you sound like you've got a great choice there, and you could probably turn your hand to all of those. So even if you got offered this one that you've got an assessment for tomorrow, you'd still take other offers with the others, so you've got a choice.
Definitely. Yeah, especially because I think I want to do something that not only gives me a brilliant summer, but also sets me up for what I want to do in the future. Yeah. So while this one that I have an assessment for would be really good, I would be a step away from where I want to be. Whereas something like with the Wellcome Trust would be a lot closer to where I would want to be in 5-10 years time. So it just takes that time out and gives me experience that I won't have to gain when I'm not being financially supported in some way.
Yeah. and you've got options all the while. And plus it's a good experience to go through a video interview, an assessment centre, and it all adds up. Well, it sounds like you're extremely busy with that. So, have you had time for anything else in the meantime?
My fundraising. So I'm skydiving in March to raise money for Beat. I've hit the £450 mark, so I'm more than halfway through. I've hit the minimum mark, and I'm trying to get to £1,000, so I've got a little bit more to go. So I've been getting in touch with Sussex alumni, heads of schools and departments to ask if they're able to help, if they want to help signal boost just Beat, not necessarily me skydiving, but it'd be really well appreciated if they do. And Eating Disorder Awareness Week is next week.
Yes.
So organising a social media takeover on that. So I've been getting in touch with clubs and societies to be like, hey, there aren't events going on because it's strike week and I'm standing in solidarity with the strikes, but I would really appreciate it if I could use your various social media leads and streams to just help people see what the symptoms are, how to support friends, support themselves, the different types of eating disorders, because it isn't just not eating, it's binge eating, it's just having an odd relationship with food, it's anxiety, it's a relationship with your body, how it affects men and women. So that's been a lot of my time as well.
Right.
And I got a new job, so that was fun. I'm now alongside a waitress, fundraising telemarketer type thing.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool, interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it ethically just yet. I have to scope it out a bit more, but it's interesting to be working in such a grey area.
So on the phone, presumably.
Yeah, so like if you sign a petition online, tick that box that says, I'm happy to be communicated with blah, blah, blah. Then someone like me can phone you and say, we really appreciate you signing the petition. You said you'd be happy to hear from us. I just want to let you know this is what the petition has achieved. Our goals are X, Y, Z. This is why it'd be great if we could have your support. Would you want to donate now, set up a monthly direct debit, things like that, which is cool. You hear a lot of people. You meet a lot of very grumpy people on the phone, but the odd few golden souls is quite nice.
Wow, you're getting lots of good experience, so it's good to hear. And you talked about the Eating Disorder Week. You've kindly written a piece for our blog, so we'll publish that shortly. And we'll catch up with you in 4 weeks' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're back here with Tor today at Sussex Uni. Very much looking forward to finding out what she's been up to in the last 4 weeks since we spoke. How's things?
Yeah, it's good. It's been very busy.
Okay.
I've had my mid-placement uni review.
Yeah.
So this involved my uni supervisor coming into my work and having an hour and a half meeting. It was half hour with just me, half hour with just my supervisors, and then half hour with all of us together.
Okay.
So that was quite useful because we kind of just all got onto the same page in terms of what the uni were expecting, what the placement people had to say about me, and then any concerns I had. It also involved me doing my mid-placement log, which was asking quite kind of sort of philosophical questions, kind of quite insightful, thinking, how is your placement actually been? What have you learned? What are you most surprised about? Things like that. And then it also involved doing a reflection document, which was essentially thinking about all the different training I've done, all the different projects I've done, and then what kind of clinical experience have I done.
Okay.
So it's kind of a big, hefty piece of work.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's very important that they check in with you,
Yes.
check your progress, that you're happy, they're happy. And it's interesting that they ask you some philosophical questions, in your words, such as, what do you feel you're learning and what surprised you? What did you say to that?
I talked a bit about accessibility.
Yeah.
Because I know that obviously the world isn't very disabled friendly at the moment.
Right.
And it's kind of been a shock to know how accessible uni actually is in comparison to the NHS, which seems quite strange because obviously part of the strikes that are happening at the moment are because uni is saying that it's not accessible. And they're saying that kind of like students, staffs, the disability pay gap and things like that. So it's quite surprising to see that uni is striking because they're not accessible, and we've kind of got loads of people that are like trying to campaign for accessibility, and then you've got the NHS, which are so far behind, and yet they're not doing anything.
So you made your point, and then do you feel that they're going to listen or act on it in any way? Did they make any commitments?
They didn't make any commitments. They have understood where I'm coming from. I think it's a more structural issue rather than little things. So it's quite hard to change. But one of my supervisors has been very, very behind me, kind of backing me. They were kind of as a body, the NHS's perspective is kind of like, well, it seems to come across as we don't really have this infrastructure in place, therefore it's quite difficult. Whereas the uni's perspective, they've said, so things like working from home, doing reduced hours, being on the ground floor, all kind of things which seem relatively reasonable. Uni has said, as long as it doesn't take away from your placement, it is acceptable. And they were kind of saying, well, we've already found you a desk on the ground floor.
Yeah.
So we've kind of already gone out of our way.
Right.
Whereas I personally don't think that's the only thing an organisation should do. Because if someone can't climb stairs, it's kind of, it's all very confusing. It's kind of getting into the politics and the bureaucracy and kind of understanding where different people stand and really what understanding of reasonable adjustment is.
Is there any recourse you could take if you feel that they don't make any adjustments? Could you escalate it?
I think I possibly could, but I tend to, my personal feeling is kind of, I don't like to escalate things unless it's going to help multiple people. So my brother's just had his disability assessment things and just been diagnosed with like dyspraxia and dysgraphia again.
Right.
And his school took away his support at A level because they were like, no, you're intelligent, you don't need your extra support, you don't need your extra time, etc.
Right.
And they asked him, do you want us to write to the school and say, actually, you should have been given your extra time, you should have been given all these reasonable adjustments. And he was kind of like, well, it's not going to help me now. And I had the discussion with him to kind of say, but it could kind of make the school think, actually, we screwed up here. Because they really did. Everyone thinks that because he's got kind of like learning disabilities, but he's so intelligent. He's so much more intelligent than me, and I really admire him. But because he can't write it down because of dyspraxia is a coordination thing, it doesn't come across. People kind of assume that you're just lazy, you just don't like writing, things like that. So I'm definitely seeing kind of more, if you look okay, you're not in a wheelchair, therefore you're fine to climb stairs, or, oh, you're kind of we're dealing with a lot of people with mental illnesses, but because you look okay, obviously there's nothing wrong. Or obviously you're intelligent, so you can't have anything wrong, or you're confident, so you can't have anxiety. It's all these kind of prejudices and preconceptions, and they just need to be broken.
It's not easy. Not easy.
No.
And you've said that your uni lecturer who came in to see you has been very supportive, which is great. They could, brush it under the carpet or dismiss it, but it's in their interest as well that you're in a placement that is enabling you to reach your potential while you're there. So, hopefully something will come good of it now that you've raised it. So that's good. What else has been going on?
So I've been onto campus a little bit to talk about junior research assistants.
Okay.
So this is a thing that I want to do in the summer.
Yeah.
So I came into campus and listened to their lecture. So they kind of were just explaining the process. It's 8 weeks over the summer.
Yeah.
Quite intensive. The applications are now open. So in theory, what I now need to do is get a supervisor's agreement, and it's quite kind of quite kind of harsh, because so you have to get like an academic advisor to say whether or not you're in like the top 5%, 10%, 20% of the people you know.
Yeah.
So if you have loads of really intelligent pupils or co-workers, like you're going to rank quite lowly.
Yeah.
So there's that part, and then
Right.
there's also, I've got to do a research proposal and an academic CV. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to investigate the link between hypermobility and anxiety, because we've got quite a bit of data on this. And I'm going to do a factor analysis, so kind of see where the